Hey everybody, Jane here, and we are going to do a spoiler review for Murder on Bedford Street.
Pictures and patterns put into words that stream across the page, capturing life as soft spoken.
So I am going to assume, if you are watching this video, that you have read this book and the other books in the series, at least up to the character arc, and know what's going on to this point. So if you have not, pop off this video now, because we're just gonna get into these spoilers pretty much right away. So, a little bit of background. I have been reading this book, or the series, since book one, and I love the relationship between Sarah and Frank, and I've always kind of felt the mysteries were so-so. They were fine, but I was really in it for Sarah and Frank. And then, I don't like Maeve and Gino nearly as much as Sarah and Frank. They're fine, but I don't love them on the same level. And so, especially when we did, I think it was Murder in St. Nicholas Avenue, whatever it was, where I think Frank and Sarah are on their honeymoon, and we have just like Maeve and Gino. I really didn't enjoy that. And there have been a couple others where I'm just like, I just want more of Frank and Sarah. And I also would like the author to do something more with their relationship. And I got really excited because for a hot minute, Sarah got nauseated in this one, and I was like, oh, do we have a baby? Because she needs to have Frank's baby. Because, okay, so if you're kind of new to the series or maybe forgot, Frank's son's mother died in childbirth. And for Sarah to get pregnant would be like all this complicated emotion from Frank, and he'd be ecstatic because Sarah is his love and another baby, but is his next baby going to be death like his current baby? Is Sarah going to die? She's a midwife. She takes good care of women, but who's going to be her midwife? All kinds of complex things. And that's really where I wanted to see this series go. And so far it hasn't. It just hasn't. But that being said, this book did a lot of things that I loved and really was for. So Sarah and Frank are, well, Frank, I guess, he is now a private detective. He's left the police force and he's a private detective. And he is approached by this wealthy man who says, I hear you solve things, you're a detective. My niece has been put into an asylum incorrectly. Her husband's a scoundrel, and she shouldn't have been put in the asylum. She's completely innocent. She's not crazy. He just wanted to have affairs. And that was a thing in this time period. Like, women were put into asylums, people were put into asylums just to get them out of the way. If they were at all disabled, if, a man didn't want to deal with his wife anymore, an asylum was, a place you could put somebody. And so Frank and Sarah are concerned that this poor woman has been put into an asylum and isn't crazy, and her her husband is just a terrible philanderer. And so they go to investigate. She seems very normal when they talk to her. She's obviously being treated terribly in the asylum. And I really thought we were just gonna do what would be expected in this book and have it be like, okay, yeah, the husband's a jerk. He's terrible. Maybe he's even done some horrific things. And this girl has been put away wrongly, and we're gonna rescue her. But that's not what I got, and I loved what I got. So instead of doing that, which, up to this point, these mysteries generally don't throw huge curveballs at me. Sometimes, but this was a good curveball. I love this curveball. So, chick in the asylum is legit crazy. She has murdered 3 people. And so they find this out because they're doing investigations to prove that she's innocent and that her husband's just horrible. And in these investigations, they have Maeve infiltrate the house. And let me tell you, Maeve is not my favorite, but in this capacity as somebody who is infiltrating and taking care of a kid, and she's a nursemaid, I liked Maeve in this. Maeve was very much in her element, where she should be. She takes care of the kids at Sarah's house. I I don't love Maeve, and I definitely don't love Maeve and Gino as much as like Sarah and Frank. They're fine, but I don't want them to be the main characters. But I didn't mind her big role in the story. I thought it was fitting. It was the only way this would have worked. I loved how much she took care of the little boy. And in taking care of the little boy, we realized that his mama is crazy. And I loved her connection with the little boy. I love that, it was so twisty. And then, of course, Frank and Sarah are like, oh my gosh, this woman can't be let out. She's a multiple murderer. She's legit crazy. And the uncle has already, like, finagled the system with his riches and been like, yeah, I just got her out with money because that's what we do in this world. And now the crazy killer is on the loose. So I thought that was such a good way to do this and a good twist and something to keep the story really interesting. I also loved Sarah delivering the babies, the twins. Sarah's a midwife, and we really don't see a ton of midwifery in some of the books. And I am all for midwifery. Like, that was one of the things that drew me to the series and to Sarah from the start point, is her being a midwife and just all the midwife stuff. So, and I feel like we've kind of gotten away from that and gotten away from some of the more parental things, because I just love the family dynamics and the kids and the midwifery, and like that part was here. And then again, Maeve's bond with the kid, like that she was taking care of. I just love that. This was very like back to the things I love about the series. I still want to see Sarah and Frank have a baby. And I definitely feel like this series is also like maybe running a little low on steam for me. I enjoy it still, but if the author wanted to wrap it up and decide that she was done, I don't think I'd be sad about it. I mean, especially if we're not going to give Sarah any more babies. I definitely feel like some of the books are really still strong, but I've had a lot of average books in my last reads too. This one and the one before it I think I really enjoyed, but yeah. So, this has been a good one. I don't think it's my favorite in the series, but I've read so many of them, it's hard to say now which one my favorite is. Like, I know the character stuff I loved, but mystery-wise, I don't necessarily remember a whole lot. Though I hope this one will be memorable because it was so twisty and they did something very different that I didn't expect, and I was here for it. All right, guys. Have you read it? Did you like it? Did you think this was a good twist, a good way to turn the story and take it and do something new and exciting and different? Or did you know what was happening right from the get-go and were not at all surprised? Leave your comments below. If you are a fan of the series, what would you like to see happen in the next few books? Because do you also feel like we're running out of character arc? Or do you feel like Maeve and Gino's relationship, if you can even call it that, is enough? Do you like where that's going? Like, what do you think, what do you want from this series if you love it as much as I do? Leave it in the comments below. This has been Jane. I'll see you next time. Bye.